guys, welcome to another video. I hope you're all having a great day. I am so excited about today's speed build because I am in Paralives for the very first time. I actually got it just a couple of days ago. I mean, it came out Monday on the 25th, but I didn't end up getting it until like Wednesday because I totally forgot that it was even supposed to come out this week. And so once I seen a couple of videos come across my YouTube and I seen the release date as the 25th, I was like, oh my gosh, it's out. I need to get my hands on it. And on Steam, it's like 10% off. And so it's only $35 instead of the $40. So if that interests you, I definitely recommend taking advantage of it while it is on sale. I'm not sure how long the sale is going to be. Maybe it's going to be during the whole early access phase, because if you do not know, Paralives is released, but it is only in the early access phase, and so there are different little bugs and quirks that are going to have to be worked out before the final version is released. So definitely keep that in mind. I did run across quite a few bugs, but it wasn't game-ending bugs, so to speak. And I mean, I can definitely give them some grace because they did let us know that, hey, there's going to be bugs and please report the bugs if you do see them. And so that is what I have been doing. I have been reporting the bugs that I've been seeing. I've been trying to wait to do it until I know for a fact it's actually a bug, because I will kind of go over things during the kitchen with the oven and the oven not working, but it come to find out it was just user error and not necessarily a bug. So there are things that you will have to just make sure they're bugs before you actually report them. I mean, you're able to report it anyways, but it definitely doesn't really help anybody out if you're just reporting everything, even like an actual gameplay feature that you're just not doing correctly, if that makes sense, other than a bug. So at least what I'm doing, I am trying to make sure it's a bug before I actually report it. When I am doing the living room, there is a bug I encountered that I actually kept in the speed build. I kind of debated cutting it out or keeping it in. Some of the bugs I did cut out, but this one in particular I kept in just because it was a little bit interesting and it gave me more money, so I wasn't 100% mad about it. But it was shocking when it happened, and it's kind of scary when the bugs happen, because I did start a build before this one and I didn't realize there was a foundation until I was building and I seen that you could lower or raise the wall height, and then I was like, oh, okay, maybe that's how you do the foundation, and that is also how you do the foundation. So I already had like some furniture and stuff in the house I was building. Then I raised the foundation and it totally just spazzed my build out and deleted a whole bunch of stuff. The walls were kind of wonky, and so I just started over. I said, you know what, let's just start over. And here is the other bug I was talking about. So you see my money? The pillows like disappeared because I pressed the escape key just, to escape out of grabbing the pillow. And then it made all of my pillows disappear. And then when I went to move the couch, it just gave me like endless money over and over again. So I was originally trying to make this house be like a starter house, right? With the $30,000. The $30,000, I don't know what you call the money in Paralives yet. I don't know all of the terms quite yet, so I'll figure that out as I go. But you might just be hearing me say like regular terms or maybe even Sims terms. I'm trying not to use the Sims terms though, so I know it's not simoleons, it's dollars to me right now. So I tried to stick with just the $30,000 the game originally gives you in the beginning, at least if you have 2 paras. I started with 2 paras, and so I had $30,000. And so I tried to stick with that, but then, that bug occurred and it gave me a lot of money. And I could have cheated it back down, I'm sure, if I looked it up online. But then I was like, well, you know what? It does give me more money to kind of play around in build mode, so I'm not that mad about it. And I meant to go back and add pillows on the couch again because I absolutely love the build feature in this game. It is so much fun and you can really customize things. It is a little bit difficult to get the hang of, but once you get the hang of it, it's really awesome, to be totally honest. I had so much fun playing around in build mode, and I actually built this house specifically for my paras so that I can experience the actual gameplay of Paralives 2. And I am actually a fan of the gameplay too. Like, I know it doesn't have everything that it will have eventually, but it actually has quite a bit of stuff to experience in this early access phase. I'm really impressed with this game, and the creators of this game is not a big corporation. They are actually just like, you know, a small little indie team. And so this is an indie game. It's created by a small team of very, very talented creators. Like, they are amazing to be able to create a game like this from literally scratch. And even it being in like the early access phase, it is really, really well done. I really can't express how genuinely impressed I am with this game and how much fun I actually had playing it and building in it, of course. I'm already building like a second house, and I'm excited for you guys to see that one too. It'll probably come out next week though. I might do like a Paralives build like once, maybe twice a week, depending. And hopefully you guys enjoy seeing these speed builds. And I think you can even download this house, by the way. I think there's a Steam workshop that you can upload your builds and paras into. And so I will definitely have this on my Steam workshop. It will probably be the same as my EA gallery ID. I will have it listed in the description box below because I'm not 100% sure what it's going to be yet. It depends because my Steam name is different, unfortunately, than my EA app name, and so I'm just gonna have to just wait and see. So it will be listed in the description box below though, and then you'll be able to go and download this house if you want to. And while I'm talking about it being on the Steam workshop, I accidentally forgot to save it until I already was playing in it. So at first I had just like my 2 paras, and then I ended up having them get pregnant and have a baby, which was literally the cutest thing ever. The babies in Paralives are so adorable, and you can actually create them from the para character maker. I don't know the name of that either, but you can actually make them literally and like create a household. So that's really, really cool. It doesn't have to be toddler and above. You can do babies too, and they're literally so cute. And there's binkies, and they are literally just so cute. They have like rosy cheeks. I love it. But I originally created this house to have an office in the spare bedroom, and in my mind I knew that it was eventually going to be a nursery. But since I forgot to save it before I started playing in it, there are some things that you see at the end of this build that are going to be different than what is going to be in the Steam workshop. And that's because I'm still learning how to really do this game, and I wasn't aware that there was even a Steam workshop until I looked it up last night after a couple of days of playing in this house. And so yeah, just a little disclaimer, things will be different. The office will actually be a nursery. I am going to have screenshots at the end of this speed build though, so that you can actually see the finished product and what is going to be on the Steam workshop. So the office turns into a nursery, and then the bedroom does change a little bit because I had to move the keyboard that was in the office into the bedroom, and the computer desk in the office I ended up putting into the foyer area, and then like I moved the bookcase from the foyer into the bedroom. So just a couple of small things. I will talk more about it once we get to that area, but I just wanted to let you know while we were on the subject of uploading this onto the Steam workshop. We are currently working on like the living room, dining room, and kitchen area. This is an open floor plan build, and I think it turned out so good. There is a build tool where you have to actually section off, like the kitchen for example, you have to section that off into like a fake separate like room separator. Like there's a room separator there, but you don't see like the actual wall, you just see the dark outline, but it's not there when you're playing, if that makes sense. So that is what you have to use to separate like the kitchen from the living room if you're doing an open floor plan like this. And that is how you get the flooring in the different rooms to be different types of flooring, like tile in the kitchen and wood flooring in the rest of the house. And same with the tile like on the walls in the kitchen, and then the painted walls in the living room and dining room. You have to use that wall separator in order to do different things like this. It took me a minute to figure that out when I was actually like building in game. Obviously I cut out quite a bit of me trying to figure stuff out, but I was like, so with the flooring tool for example, it just like paints the whole room at once, and it's not like tile by tile like it is in The Sims. And so I was like, are you not able to do different types of flooring in different areas? Like if you do an open floor plan like this, it has to be separated by a wall. And then I was so happy to see that there is like a tool to separate the rooms without actually separating the rooms. So just a little FYI, if you were lost like I was, that is how you do that. And I am using columns, by the way, and another build feature that is absolutely amazing is the fact that you can really customize the size of these objects. Like it is literally just amazing. It's like a dream come true almost, you know what I mean? Like something we wish we had in The Sims 4 but would literally never happen. So I took those columns and I sized them really down so that I put them as like a trim on the outskirts of the tile in the kitchen, where like the paint meets the tile where the living room or dining room meets the kitchen. And so I sectioned that off so it's like a nice clean cut, and you have the tile on one side and the painted wall on the other side. I think that is so satisfying to look at, and I was so happy that I thought of doing that. And I only knew that you could size columns up or down because I did the same thing with the columns out in front and back of the house where like the little patio and the porch is. And so yeah, I did think that was a good idea. I also really love that you can size up and down however large or small you want these windows. Well, there is a limit to how like small or large you have it, but for the most part, you can really customize it. Like those windows I'm using in the front, they're originally like just double windows, but you can actually size them. I never really tested how far you could go, but I know you can have at least 4 window panes instead of the 2. And it's just, it makes it so easy to really customize in this game and do exactly what you want to do. And same with like the color wheel, you can really make whatever color you want. It's a little bit difficult to get the hang of because some of the colors don't look right, but if you are a player of The Sims 3, or at least you've played it before or in the past, then you're probably kind of familiar with the color wheel already, and so you might kind of have some ideas of how to make colors look more realistic. Because some of the colors, if it's like neon green, it's not gonna look very realistic, but if you do like the darker colors or even like a beige, you can kind of make it look as realistic as possible. I mean, the art style of this game is not realistic at all, but you can still make it look realistic enough if that's what you like, if that's like your gameplay style. And the fact that you can resize the coffee tables and end tables, dining tables, the counters, the couches, the lamps, literally you can resize anything in this game. The only things you are not able to resize are the things that like have to be a certain size in order to use, like the fridge and the oven in the kitchen, the sink in the kitchen or bathroom, the toilet, and I think even like the bathtub slash showers. I haven't really played around too much with that. I just kind of plopped it down and left it as is because I use like the shower tub combo that's in Paralives. The plants, the TVs, the TV stand, literally almost every single thing is fully customizable, and you can really make it as big or small as you want it to be, and it's so amazing and so fun to play with. And I cut out a little bit right before I started building and adding these details in the living room. So I already had like this stuff in the TV stand, and I had some stuff on the coffee table, but for some reason when you press the escape key in order to, like, let's say you grab something and you're like, oh no, I don't want to grab that anymore, let me press escape, because that's usually how you can do it in The Sims. And I think that's how you're supposed to be able to do it here in Paralives, but it does bug out when you do that. So I recommend saving every so often so that if something happens, you can just go back to where you last saved. I learned that the hard way. So when I was adding different like clutter items in the living room, I pressed escape and it deleted like everything I had besides a couple of things. So it was just easier for me just to cut out that whole little section and then re-add some stuff. And some stuff was already there because it didn't delete it. Like on the coffee table, I had like a tray with a plant and I added a candle. It's just, that's why it was a little bit weird, but then I added the stuff in the TV stand. I just felt the need to explain that part just in case you're like, wait, did I miss something? No, you didn't. You didn't really miss anything. Nothing that was worth seeing, you didn't miss. So in the foyerway, I have a little rug that is right in front of the front door, and then I have a bookcase right next to the front door, and I put a couple of different little clutter items on the bookcase. I think that area turned out really cute. I also end up adding a little coat rack because I find it in the catalog. I'm like, oh, what a cute little coat rack. Let me add it. I love coat racks in like simulation games for some reason. I just think they're so adorable. And you can actually customize the colors of the sweaters on there, which I love. That's one thing you can't do in The Sims 4. Well, there's a lot you can't do in The Sims 4 compared to Paralives. But that is an example. Like, you're kind of stuck with the color of the coats on the coat rack. Like, you can't change it. And so it was really nice to be able to change it here in Paralives. And I also end up adding like a mirror right behind the coat rack as like a little like foyerway mirror and coat rack so you can really see what your outfit looks like before you leave. And I also put like a welcome mat in front of the front door outside. I think it is so adorable that they actually have words spelled in English on the floor mats. There's one that says leave, and I think that's hilarious. It doesn't say welcome, it says leave. I thought that was such a cute touch. So let's talk about the wall art in this game a little bit. It was kind of difficult for me to figure out at first. I was like, okay, it's like empty picture frames. They don't have any art yet. Like, is that just an early access thing? Or do you have to add your own pictures as you're playing of like your family? Or like, how does that work? So I ended up like grabbing one and I resized it, and you can really make it as big or small as you want. Like everything else, it's literally great. And then I was looking and I pressed something. I don't remember what there's a button at the bottom that has like a picture, and you press that and it comes up a bunch of different pictures you can put in the frame. And then you can resize it to fit that picture perfectly. And I actually really like that. You can really choose the color of frame with the picture itself, and it's really great. I had a lot of fun playing around with the wall art. Now, the selection of wall art itself, it looks like a lot, but at the end of the day, it's really not a lot, in my opinion. Like, I am sure they're going to be adding a lot more throughout early access and by the end of like the actual release of the finished game. But as of right now, there's really not a lot of art to choose from. which is a little bit of a bummer. That's one thing. Like, I thought there wasn't a lot in The Sims, but I guess there is compared to what we have in this game. But like I said, it's literally only been out for early access for like 4 days at this point. 3 days, not even 4 days. And so it's just not there yet. It will be there, trust me. I am sure that they have a lot more artwork and clutter items and functional items that they were planning to add that just wasn't ready yet. And so, yeah, I'm super excited to see what is going to be coming in the future. Same thing with clutter items as the wall art. There's really not a whole lot right now. I mean, there are enough to be able to really customize your houses like I'm doing here. But of course, we could always use more, right? But considering this is early access, we actually have a pretty good amount to choose from. And I love that the microwave has a little slot on there that you can add stuff. So I added a little like cutting board, and I debated different stuff to put on top of the cutting board. And I ultimately decided to put this like basket of bread on there. It looks like it might be freshly made bread or something like that, and I thought it was a cute little touch. It made it feel really homey, which was the vibe I was going for. It's like a coastal home, but I wanted it to feel lived in and homey and not just like a model home. You know what I mean? So a couple of things about the kitchen before we move on. The stools are not functional yet, but it does say in the catalog that they are working on making it functional. So your paras cannot use them yet. They can use the dining chairs, but they cannot use the stools yet. So just keep that in mind if you're like going to download this or you're building a house yourself and you didn't really notice that it said that when you grabbed a stool. Just keep that in mind. Same with like the little like poofs, you know, those little poof chairs, same with those. There's a couple of things that your paras just can't use yet, but they'll be able to eventually. Same with the bikes, I think. I try to click on bikes and you can't really do anything with it, but this town is so big that I'm sure they're eventually going to make those usable. And I think there's even plans for cars. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think I seen that. It's an open world game, so I would be surprised if cars would never come, you know? One other thing about the kitchen, right now I have the stove in between two counters, but I come to realize while playing that the stove was not functional. I would click on the fridge and it would say you can make these two microwavable dishes, but you cannot use the oven. The oven is unavailable is what it would say. And it took me some time and some like finagling and playing around with it to realize that the stove was just not in a place that it could be played. I don't know what it really was. I don't think it was the island in the way, because I tried moving that. I tried moving a lot of different stuff and it was nothing until instead of using the freely place like customizable tool, I just snapped it on the wall. Like I chose a spot that it could snap onto and then I was able to use it. So I think the oven, you have to actually snap in place and customize all of the counters around it instead of vice versa like I did. Like I customized the counters and then I made the oven fit where I wanted it because of the way the counters look, if that makes sense. So just keep that in mind when you download this, or if you just stay until the screenshots for like inspiration for a house you're planning on building. The oven is going to be in a different place. It's going to be just one spot over, but it is going to be different. Just like most of the rooms in this house will be a little bit different at the end versus what I'm doing now, just because of, like I said, I didn't save it until I played in it, and so I changed some stuff. But to be fair, the nursery actually looks a lot cuter as a nursery than it did as an office, so I'm really not mad about it. On another note, how satisfying is it to be able to change the size of these mirrors to be exactly how you want them to be? Like I made this mirror above the dresser look like it's attached and part of the dresser. You know how like in real life you'll have a dresser with a mirror attached to it? That's the vibe I was going for with this, and it was literally so satisfying to do and so much fun to play around with. That is something in The Sims 4, like a lot of the dressers don't have mirrors attached to it, and I really want to recreate that in my simulation games and in my builds. And so being able to do it here is literally so much fun. I just love it. Same with the computer desk. You see how like kind of small it is right now? I didn't realize until shortly after, like I added the chair and the chair was a little bit big compared to that little like gap where the computer desk is and where the chair is supposed to go. And so once I add the chair and I kind of play around with it and I want it to fit perfectly underneath the window and not have gaps on each side, then I finally realized, oh, okay, so I can make the computer desk bigger or smaller too. And there's just a certain area where you can snap the computer onto so it's still functional. And it's just so much fun and honestly, in a way, easier to build, or at least easier to create. Like, I know the building tools themselves can be difficult, especially when you use the advanced mode like I'm doing here. It can be difficult, but once you get the hang of it, it's so much fun and honestly easier to create in your mind because it's almost like the options are endless, you know? So I really love the build mode in this game. It reminds me of a mix of like Sims 2 and 3 with a little bit of Planet Zoo or Planet Coaster involved as well. The reason why it makes me think of like Planet Zoo is because the build in that game is really advanced and really hard. I am not a good builder in Planet Zoo, like at all. Like it's really hard. And a lot of the stuff you actually have to build with the advanced like tool that like it has it's the circles and arrows that you see me using in Paralives. That's how you build in Planet Zoo or Planet Coaster. And so just the build mode reminds me of like all the best features of a bunch of different simulation games. And I love that so much. It's easier to build in this game than Planet Zoo or Coaster though, because at least Paralives has the objects already like made and you can kind of customize it from there. And you can just use the advanced mode to really get an object in place like perfectly. Raise it up, lower it down, turn it all around, you know what I mean? But in like Planet Coaster or Planet Zoo, you have like little individual like pieces, like a piece of plywood, let's say, and you have to put a bunch of those together to create like a structure, like a restaurant or an exhibit if it's Planet Zoo. And it's just really hard and you have to be very creative to build in those games. So I like how it is using the advanced feature of those games here in Paralives, but they made it easier to do for those of us that are not as creative as some people that play Planet Coaster. So I am working on the office now. Like I said earlier, this is no longer an office once you download it from the Steam Workshop, but for now it is. The keyboard I end up placing into the master bedroom along with the bookcase in the foyer, and then I put the computer desk where the bookcase is in the foyer, and then I add a crib and a dresser with another mirror on top of it with some like little baby toys. And in the bathroom I end up adding a little baby potty. And so yeah, it changes a little bit, but it does end up changing for the better. I think it looks a lot better once I change it to a nursery. The easel I end up putting on the back patio that's overlooking the ocean back there because this is a coastal lot after all, and I thought that would be perfect. I ended up finding some ceiling fans in the lights catalog, and so I placed those in like the living room and both of the bedrooms. And I sized down a mirror that looks enough like a medicine cabinet that you would find in a bathroom. So I ended up putting that in the bathroom above the sink, and I ended up adding some different like bathroom clutter items. I found a toothbrush holder with some toothpaste. I put that there on the sink and a little bar of soap next to it on the other side. And then in the little like shelf on the medicine cabinet, I found some like body scrub bottles and a little box of tissues, and I just placed that in there. Something that I thought would make sense in a bathroom is pretty much what I added in this little area. Just a bunch of different clutter stuff. And above the toilets, I ended up putting a shelf there, and I really tried to find like some towels that you would hang on the wall, but they don't have any in this game. Not that I've seen anyways. There's like a folded towel, but none that's hanging on the wall, and there's also not any robes, I don't think. There's something that's a hanging coat that could be a robe, but it looks more like a coat to me. I'm not sure. So not a lot of stuff that you can put above a toilet, unfortunately, but you can always put like a picture above a toilet or a shelf with some clutter items on it like I did in this build. There are some little like loofahs that you can hang on the wall either in the bathroom somewhere or in the shower like I did here, so I thought that was super cute. And you can also put the shampoo bottles onto the corners of the bathtub, so I like that little realistic touch. And I did a pink and a blue loofah because I have like a husband and a wife living here, and I thought that was kind of a realistic cute little touch to do. There is toilet paper holders, and there's also a toilet brush, which I find really fun and realistic, so I really like that. I put that next to the toilet, and then I put like a rug kind of on like a diagonal. It's almost like your paras accidentally kicked it into that position as they were using the bathroom, and they just didn't have time to fix it. I know that happens to me in real life in my bathrooms. Like I get out the shower, or you're just busy trying to get ready and you don't have a lot of time, and if you don't have like a rug mat underneath your rug and there's not like a grip on it, then it will move around. And so that's the vibe I was going for. Kind of realistic in my opinion, and I thought it was cute. And that is it as far as the indoor furnishings go. We are now finishing up the exterior. I waited to do the roof until very last just because I was a little bit intimidated on the roofing options. The roofing is not as easy in this game as it is in The Sims 4, in my opinion. I know roofing is hard for a lot of people to do, even in The Sims, but I do find it easier to do there than here. Once you get the hang of it though, just like everything else in this game, it kind of comes to you quicker, and there's different things you can do to make it fit better. So the eaves, I at first didn't like how there was not an overhang on the eave on both sides, but you kind of have to make it go further than the wall, and that will give you that little bit of an eave overhang. And I didn't realize that at first, but once I was doing this build, I really realized that that's how you get that little bit of an overhang, and it just looks better. And sometimes if you don't make the roof go all the way to the wall, like you see how there's a wall on the side of the roof, if you don't make that meet the wall on the bottom perfectly, then you'll have a little bit of a white line. You'll probably see it in the back of this house because I didn't realize it until I was done building that I didn't make the roof go all the way to the edge in the back. And so you'll see what I mean if you kind of look there while I'm building. I know I'm doing it really fast because it's a speed build, but you should be able to notice if you look super hard, especially once I go to the backyard and I'm doing the landscaping and I put the table back there and the grill and stuff. You'll be able to see what I mean. And they don't have all of the roofing options that The Sims 4 has, at least not yet. I know you really cannot compare this game to The Sims 4 that much just because it's early access and it was created by a very small group of people, so it's not the same as The Sims 4 whatsoever, but it's hard not to compare it to because it's a simulation game, and really what other lifestyle simulation games are there other than like The Sims? I know there's games like Second Life and stuff, but that's in my opinion, a whole different ball game than like single player simulation games like this, like family style simulation games. So I am putting fake windows as like little pieces of decoration on the roof at the very top. These are definitely fake windows. You cannot see through these windows. And it took me a minute to realize how to get them up there. You cannot just clip them up there like you can in like The Sims. You have to actually clip them onto the wall underneath, like I have where the regular windows are, and then use the advanced tool option to raise it and turn it to fit the area you want it to be. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm trying my best to explain it without actually showing you firsthand in like a build tutorial. But yeah, that's how I got that window up there. And that's why it's kind of darker than the rest of the windows, because it's not in a place that you can see through, because it's literally just a roof up there. Which I actually prefer it like this than in The Sims 4, because if you place just one window on top where the roof is, then you can see through the window and you can see just the roof and literally nothing behind it. And so I like placing fake windows like this as just decoration. In The Sims 4, you have to place like 4 on top of each other so that you cannot see through it. But here you can just place 1 and then you don't see through it. It's literally just decoration. So I think I do prefer it here in Paralives over The Sims 4 for that reason. Just you don't have to place so many one right over the other. It's easier to place in The Sims 4 because you don't have to like go through the extra steps of the advanced tool option. But yeah, it is more satisfying here because you don't have that ability to see through the glass. I was also really happy to see that they have window boxes in this game in early access part of the game, and I was so worried at first because I wasn't seeing them, and then I finally found the part in the catalog that has it, in like the landscaping catalog, and so I was super happy. They don't have a lot of options, and I don't love all the options that they have. My favorite is probably the kind I'm using here. It has like a lattice trim at the bottom. Oh, on another note, real quick, you see that little random plant? That's a bug. So I was doing the bookcase inside and the plant went missing, and it's right there, but I cannot delete it. I'm not sure what that's about, but I do end up putting some plants in front of it so that you cannot see it. Hopefully when it is on the Steam Workshop, it's not actually going to be there, but if it is, it's a bug. Sorry, I don't know what to say about it. I put a plant over it or in front of it so you can't really see it. So yeah, anyways, like I was saying, the window boxes, there's some that are empty, which is interesting. I'm not really sure what that is about yet. I'm not sure if that's like a functional item where you can actually make your paras plant some stuff in there, or if it's just so you can put your own flowers in there. It might be that. And I'm not sure how you can actually copy and paste a whole group of item yet. That would be something really cool if they end up adding into this game, where you can highlight over a whole section of different items, like the window box with flowers you put in there individually, and you want to copy and paste that to put onto each window. That would be a really cool building tool to have that I don't think is in the game yet. At least I haven't found it. If that is in the game and you guys know about it, definitely let me know in the comments below. That would help me out so much. Okay, so definitely let me know, but I have not found it in game, so I'm not sure if it is in there. But yeah, so I am working on the landscaping and outdoor decorations. I have a painted gravel walkway leading from the front sidewalk to the front door, and I also have it going from the front of the house to the back of the house, leading onto like the side. And I do have to say the terrain painting tools in this game are a little bit hard to use just because there's not an opacity slider quite yet. So if you are painting with the gravel or dirt, just know that it's going to be there. And you're not gonna be able to like change the opacity. You can kind of put some like grass on top of it and try to make it a little bit lighter, but then the grass is not super light either. Like, I love the overgrown grass look, but I wish that there was an opacity slider where you can make the grass not as thick, if that makes sense. So that's just a little bit of a nitpicky thing. You know, it's really nitpicking at that point, but that would be nice to have like an opacity slider for the terrain paint. I'm sure that will come eventually, but nonetheless, the terrain paint itself is fun to do. Like, it might be a little bit difficult just because you have to like play around with it and put some terrain paint over the other to try to get it to have like a thinner look or a lighter look. But other than that, I had a lot of fun playing with it. And I really do love the overgrown grass look. I know that it just looks like your parents are not mowing the grass, but it gives it a really cute look and it really matches the art style really, really well. Oh, I just noticed on those stairs next to the grill, I have some grass growing through the stairs, so I probably should have fixed that, but oh well, too late now. So I'm placing some outdoor lights now, and I really like my lights to be the same height, especially if I have them on both sides of the door. And the best way I was able to figure out on how to do that is placing one directly over the other and then using the advanced tool just to shift it over to either the left or the right. As of right now, that's the only way I could figure out on how to make it exactly even without having a grid to be able to snap it onto. I know that there is a grid, but it seems very limited. Unless I'm doing it wrong, that is always a possibility. But we have officially reached the end of my very first Paralives build. I really hope you guys like it, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Of course, if you do, please don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe if you have not already. Be sure to ring the notification bell so you never miss an episode, and I have plenty of more Paralives content to come. Let me know down below what your favorite part of today's build is, or what your favorite part of Paralives is. I would love to know. I hope you all have an amazing day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!